Welcome back to the deep dive. Buckle up, because today we're going deep into some pretty intense territory. We're talking about a diary entry, well, it's definitely mature content, folks. Just putting that out there.
Right off the bat, full disclosure.
Exactly. We explore all kinds of perspectives here on the deep dive, but exploring definitely doesn't mean endorsing.
Absolutely. Critical distance is key.
Right. So today we're diving into the world of a woman named Natalia. She's got a very, let's just say, unconventional approach to politics.
Unconventional is putting it mildly. I mean, what's really fascinating here is how she describes her methods. We're talking about manipulation tactics aimed at shifting men's political beliefs.
Yeah, and she's very specific, too. I mean, Natalia's diary entry doesn't hold back. She talks about targeting men, specifically men of color, and using a mix of, well, manipulation and sex to kind of nudge them toward more conservative viewpoints.
It's like a how-to manual for, well, ideological persuasion. Natalia lays out her entire strategy. She talks about planting these seeds of doubt about their existing beliefs.
It's disturbing, to be honest. She even talks about offering certain incentives for these guys to, engage with conservative media. And the way she describes it all with phrases like pure ecstasy when talking about changing someone's political views, it's really unsettling.
The language is definitely striking, like, my sexy little typhoid Mary. It points to a pretty complex psychological profile.
It gets even creepier. She names names, details their ethnicities, even locations. Derek, a black man in Atlanta. Miguel, a Cuban guy in Tampa Bay. The list goes on.
The level of detail is remarkable. It's meticulous, almost like she's documenting these conversions for, well, posterity.
She even talks about using a Thanksgiving dinner with her conservative sister as a way to expose her then-boyfriend Derek to right-wing viewpoints. I don't know about you, but this is really starting to rub me the wrong way.
I can understand why you'd say that. Putting aside the moral questions for a second, though, you have to admit there's a certain cunning intelligence at work here. The way she tailors her approach to each guy, factoring in their backgrounds, their insecurities. It's strategic, that's for sure.
Strategic? Sure, but it's still wrong. I mean, this isn't some game. We're talking about people's lives, their beliefs, their identities.
Hold on now. Identities are fluid, constantly changing. Who are we to say she's not helping these men become truer versions of themselves?
Look, I get your point, but something about this whole thing just feels wrong. And she doesn't stop there. Natalia goes on to describe how she moves from one man to the next, always seeking out a new project. And she even uses her background as a sports photographer, her family fleeing communism.
Yes, very clever. Leveraging shared experiences, vulnerabilities to build trust. It's a classic move.
Classic. This is straight up manipulation. No two ways about it.
Is it, though? Or is it persuasion, influence? You have to admire the artistry.
Admire. I don't think that's the right word. Creepy, maybe. Exploitative. Definitely.
Come on, where's your sense of adventure? This woman is a force of nature. You gotta imagine the charisma it takes to pull this off.
Okay, I think we need to pause here. I feel like we're talking about this in two very different ways. You seem intrigued, almost. I'm feeling increasingly uncomfortable.
Intrigued? Perhaps. But let's not get bogged down in moral judgments just yet. We're here to analyze, understand. And what we have here is a fascinating case study. A woman who's not afraid to challenge norms, to push boundaries.
Boundaries. He's crossing lines, that's for sure.
No, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're only in the first part of Natalia's story. There's so much more to unpack, so much more to learn.
I don't know about that. I have a bad feeling about where this is going.
And Natalia's diary, well, it doesn't stop with Derek. Her next entry is all about Miguel, and this is where things get really interesting. She really focuses on what she calls Miguel's traditional views on gender roles.
Yeah, that part was pretty hard to stomach. She practically brags about convincing him that women shouldn't work and how she used that to, get her way.
You say hard to stomach. I say brilliant. I mean, she finds a vulnerability, a deeply held belief, and uses it to subtly shift his whole worldview.
Subtle. Come on. She's literally sleeping with these guys and then feeding them right-wing talking points.
True. But it's the way she does it, the finesse. With Miguel, it's less about direct confrontation and more about appealing to his, let's say, masculine ideals.
Ideals. More like insecurities, if you ask me.
Semantics. The point is, Natalia recognizes those nuances. Her diary even contrasts Miguel with Derek. She notes how Derek, as a black man in America, had different experiences with race and gender, so he was less susceptible to certain arguments.
So she had to change her game, find a new angle.
Exactly. It shows her adaptability, her understanding of how identity shapes perception.
I guess. But it still feels predatory, doesn't it? Like she's taking advantage of these guys' weaknesses.
Weaknesses, or maybe untapped potential. Think of it like this. A sculptor sees a block of marble, raw and unformed. Natalia sees these men, their beliefs still malleable, and she helps them sculpt themselves into something stronger, more aligned with her vision.
Okay, that's a little much, even for you. And let's be real here. Sex is a huge part of this whole equation. She's using her sexuality to manipulate these men.
Mhm.
No way around it.
Yes, the sex word. So loaded. But what is sex if not a powerful form of communication? A primal connection?
Look, I'm all for healthy sexuality, but this isn't that. This is exploitation, pure and simple.
Is it, though? Maybe these men are willing participants. Maybe they find Natalia's worldview and her methods, well, irresistible.
Irresistible. You're really buying into this whole femme fatale thing, huh?
Can you blame me? It's a compelling story. And Natalia herself describes the feeling of power she gets from these conversions as intoxicating, even sexually arousing.
Because it doesn't make it okay. And frankly, it's pretty disturbing that you find this whole thing so, well, titillating.
Titillating, perhaps a bit. But more than that, I find it fascinating. It's a glimpse into the raw power of persuasion, the blurred lines between manipulation and genuine connection.
We are definitely not on the same page here. And honestly, I'm finding your perspective more and more unsettling as we go on.
Fair enough. But remember, we're here to explore, to challenge our assumptions. And who knows, maybe Natalia's story will challenge yours.
I doubt it. But for the sake of our listeners, let's try to move past this disagreement. What else does Natalia's diary reveal?
Well, as her, shall we say, successes mount, so does her confidence. She starts to see herself as more than just a lover, more than a manipulator. She envisions herself as a political influencer, someone who can shape not just individuals, but entire communities.
Oh no, that doesn't sound good.
Doesn't it? Imagine the possibilities. A woman wielding her influence to reshape the political landscape, one man at a time. It's audacious.
It's dangerous. She's playing with fire.
Perhaps. But isn't that what makes life interesting? A little danger, a little chaos.
You're starting to sound like her. And frankly, it's creeping me out.
Lighten up. It's just a diary entry after all. Though I confess, I wouldn't mind getting my hands on Natalia's contact info. A woman like that, she's a rare find.
Okay, that's it. I'm officially out of my comfort zone.
Don't worry, there's more where that came from. In the next part of Natalia's diary, she lays out her most audacious plan yet. And let's just say it involves leveraging her influence on these men to make some serious waves in their industries.
This is about to get really dark, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And I, for one, can't wait.
Well, here we are at the final chapter of Natalia's diary.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, after that last entry, I'm not sure what to expect. A little apprehensive, if I'm being honest.
Come on, you haven't lost that sense of curiosity already, have you? Where's that adventurous spirit?
My adventurous spirit, as you call it, is feeling pretty cautious right now, especially after your, shall we say, enthusiastic response to Natalia's tactics.
Enthusiastic, I prefer appreciative. Not everyone has the vision, the guts to pull off what she's doing. But you're right, we have a final chapter to get through. What bombshells are in store for us this time, I wonder?
Okay, let's just do this. So in this last entry, Natalia talks about using her influence on these men to make waves in their industries. I'm guessing this is where the real manipulation comes in.
Manipulation, such a harsh word. I see it more as, well, strategic encouragement. She sees the potential in these men, the power they have in their fields.
Power that she wants to control. She even admits as much in her diary.
But don't you see? She's empowering them, giving them the confidence, the ideas they need to really make a difference.
A difference. This is about control. Pure and simple. She's turning these men into her own personal political weapons.
Hold on now, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We haven't even heard the specifics of her plan yet.
Fine. Let's hear it. What's Natalia got planned for these guys?
Well, it seems she's been subtly guiding their careers, nudging them towards positions of influence. One of them, Randall, he's a rising star in a big conservative think tank now.
See? It's all calculated.
Calculated, sure, but also brilliant. Imagine the impact they could have, spreading her message, her ideas.
Your toxic, manipulative ideas.
There you go with the judgments again. Can't we just for a moment admire the sheer scale of her ambition? It's pretty remarkable, I'll admit. Give it a bit. Inspiring.
Inspiring. This is the opposite of inspiring. It's a warning about how dangerous it is to let yourself be manipulated, to be used by someone else.
Games can be fun. And Natalia's game, well, it's definitely one for the history books.
This isn't a game. These are real people's lives she's messing with.
And what lives they're becoming. Successful, powerful, spreading her message.
That's it. I'm done. This whole deep dive has been a lot. Honestly, I'm starting to question your judgment, your sanity even, for thinking any of this is good.
My friend, you're taking this all way too seriously. It's just a diary, a window into one woman's unique, unconventional journey.
Unconventional. This is messed up. Before we go on, I gotta ask. This Natalia, is she, do you find her attractive? Because I just see all of this as disgusting.
Well, she definitely comes across as confident, in charge, and, well, very much in control. And I can see how some people would find that really alluring.
Wait, so you're saying you find her attractive?
Let's just say she's a fascinating subject.
Okay, I can't listen to this anymore. To our listeners, I just want to say, I'm sorry. I hope you got something out of this deep dive, even if it's just a reminder to be careful of people who want to control you.
Oh, come on. Don't end on such a downer. Natalia's story is just one perspective. It's one way to think about power, persuasion, and, dare I say, love.
Love. Don't even get me started. You and I have very different ideas about what that word means.
Perhaps we do. But that's the beauty of it all, isn't it? So many possibilities.
I need a drink.
Me too. And maybe a new muse. If anyone out there knows how to reach Natalia, you know where to find me.
Okay, that's it. We're done here. Thanks for listening, folks. We'll see you on the next deep dive.